Capcom and SNK came together once again to collaborate on another great fighting game. While the Capcom vs. SNK games previously were developed by Capcom and only feature SNK characters and artwork, SVC Chaos is actually developed by SNK and was only published by Capcom. This results in a game that looks and plays just like a classic SNK fighter. At first glance, the fighter selection looks decent at best, but need not worry as there are characters hidden within characters. Simply hold the R trigger while hovering over certain fighters to reveal alternate selections. The SNK side features fighters from great games like Fatal Fury, King of Fighters, Art of Fighting, Samurai Shodown, and even Mars People from Metal Slug, which is strange but awesome at the same time. Capcom has a lot of familiar faces, mostly from the Street Fighter series, but there are a few fighters from other titles, including Zero from Mega Man Zero. The game's only original fighter is Violent Ken, cause original Ken wasn't violent enough. This is actually a really cool character, and I would like to see a lot more of him in future games. The game controls in classic SNK fashion with high and low attack buttons and a taunt button. Special moves are performed when your groove meter reaches either level 1, 2, or 3, with 3 being the strongest of the 3 levels. These super moves are performed like those seen in most 2D fighters of the same era. The game lets you control your fighter with either the analog stick or the D-pad. I like the feel of the Xbox D-pad, and I really prefer playing it this way. All the buttons feel great too, though I don't care for the default placement of the strong attacks on the triggers, so I changed them over to the face buttons, but overall this game controls really nicely. I love the way this game looks. It has almost a grimy, gritty look to it, with a more muted color palette and very odd selection of levels. The fighters all look really good in their SNK style, and the animations all run very smoothly. The music, on the other hand, is another story. It's very forgettable, but the sound effects are among the best I've heard in a fighting game. The punch and kick attacks really sound like something out of an old school kung fu movie at times. And the character voices are all really good, though most of them remain in Japanese. Now we all know these 2D fighters don't have much depth to them, and the playtime is usually pretty short, but they have a high replay value and feel almost timeless. I could play these games just about every day and they never get old. There is a survival mode in the game that faces you against opponent after opponent without regenerating health between rounds. And while it's fun at times, it's also a bit tough as the difficulty of the game is a bit high. Even on easy modes, the opponents can be pretty cheap. But even moderate fighting game fans shouldn't have any issues running through the game at least once. Capcom vs. SNK, SVC Chaos, is another one of those games that I feel is a must-have if you're a true fighting game fan. Whether you prefer SNK or Capcom, it doesn't really matter. This is the best of both worlds, and it can be found used for pretty cheap.